Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service. Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity work, community service, volunteering, and spreading the positivity around. We're always about positive vibes here on the show, and I've got a very special guest with me here this week. She is an original member of the television series Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. She's wrestled all across the independent circuit. She's done television work, stunt work, and we're going to talk about all that and more here today. Pleased to welcome the one, the only, Hollywood. Welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Pretty cool. I have my old, you can see this here, the old, there's Hollywood.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So let's talk about your upbringing in childhood. Where are you from?
So born and raised Burbank, California. And my parents still live in the same house that I grew up in. Of course, it's changed a lot. There's no kids there anymore. But yet, when I go there, I still stay in my room, which is very cool. So I was born there. And now I'm in Nashville. But I go back and forth all the time. So
Really?
I go back home a lot. Yeah.
What intrigued you to move to Nashville?
Yeah. Well, being from California, you really don't want to move out of your state where your family is. Of course, you move for love. And that is why I'm here. Because my guy, I met in California, and then he had to move here to help with the opening of a music studio. And I thought that might only be part-time, but it wasn't part-time. And we did this back and forth for a while. But, you move for certain reasons, and I moved for love.
Oh, that's very sweet. Very cool to hear that. I mean, Nashville's a growing city, definitely becoming a mini Hollywood of its own. Man, traffic.
I agree with you. I've been here 12 years.
Okay.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yes. So were you a big wrestling fan growing up? How did you get involved with professional wrestling at first?
So not a big fan. My grandfather was, so I remember watching it with him, here and there. Mine was an audition, I had done a couple of things for TV, but I was actually, I was in a lab drawing blood. And this particular agency just happened to call and left a message, and they said, come down for a sports show. I went down. There was a lot of women there. They needed 12 girls for a pilot. I was one of the ones that they picked. Mondo Guerrero was my trainer. He trained me for 2 or 3 months. And the producers, like I said, needed 12 girls for a pilot. I was one of the ones that they picked for the pilot. We shot it in December of 1985. You probably weren't even born. 1985. And then they sold it to television. And I did 4 seasons of Glow. Of course, I went on to do other stuff, but that's how I got into it.
Memories of your first audition?
Scary. Well, the first audition was really scary because we didn't know what we were doing. We were learning, but as everyone always knows, when you're young, you have no fear. So there was no fear at all. So when Mondo goes, which one of you girls can ram your head into the turnbuckle and land on your back, I raised my hand first. I was like, yes, I can do that. And obviously by doing that, our producer saw it, David McLean, and he said, you know what? He goes, she's my first Glow girl hired. So just, I would say not just giving 100%, but if you really love something a lot, you will give it 110 or more.
What I think is pretty,
and it worked.
Yeah. You gotta take risks if you really want to move up the ladder, so to speak. And the pretty cool thing about Glow was that at that point, you didn't really see a lot of stuff with the women's wrestling genre. It was very
quiet.
It was very quiet. And this kind of really set the tone for what was to come down the road with what we see now with the women's revolution, and there's a market for it now. And so
Absolutely. And I think with anything, if you think where women's wrestling started way back, I know
mhm,
we're talking about circus days, but you go back and you see that those few women, there wasn't a lot doing it. Again, they paved the road for me, so you can't forget. There's a great book called The Sister of the Squared Circle right
mhm,
here.
yeah,
And sometimes it's a great book. Dan Murphy and Pat LaPrade did it, but it's got Billy Wolf and his girls. I've read a lot of it,
mhm.
but it's a very good book. Lowe's in it as well. But when you start reading, these chapters of the original American wrestlers, it's fascinating, actually.
It really is, just to look back and see all the greats like you had mentioned, and just so cool to see that it's progressed and it's become more than what it was.
Mainstream,
Yeah, there's a,
yeah.
like I said, there's a market for it now.
Oh,
So
huge.
when you started with Glow, I mean, I've talked with several people on the show about the training process. It seems
Right.
like this wasn't just a wrestling promotion. This was a series, and to really get in training for this particular program, you had to take a lot of bumps. I mean, that's not
Oh,
easy.
yeah. That isn't easy, but that's what wrestling is. So if you're going to get into it, just beware. You will be bruised and you will be sore and you'll have muscles. You're using parts of your body that you thought you never used before. I mean, when I was learning, I learned the training was at night, which was great because then I could do my regular job without losing it during the day. So I trained Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I would come into work in the morning after training, which was 7 to 10 p.m. I was so sore. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. But you know what? It's a good sore. So it's like when you go to the gym and you've lifted weights, you wake up the next morning, but it's not a bad sore. It's a good sore. And that's just something that goes with that territory. Can't
Yeah.
handle it. Can't handle the heat. Get out of the kitchen, they say.
Yeah, and it seems like the physical endurance, really it definitely builds up over time. And so you were on that show for 4 seasons,
Yes.
including the pilot. Tell me about memories of being on the set with the other cast members, with the other wrestlers.
Good memories, really good memories. You always think about when girls get together, it's catty. There's a few little catty moments, it happens, but I think if you have a good head on your shoulders and you're positive, you'll get through all of it no matter what. It's better to get along with everybody than be the one that no one likes, tucks behind their back. I have a book coming out and I talk a little bit about that. I think being honest to somebody when somebody's bitching and complaining, instead of talking behind their back, why don't you just say, yeah, chill. You're lucky I say it to your face and not behind your back like everybody else does. And I mean, that was just me. I tried to mind my own business. We were on TV. There's nothing to complain about. We didn't know how popular we were either because you got to think about it. We didn't have these cell phones. We didn't have the internet. All you had was TV, and the power of TV is huge. And that's all we had. But I really, when we were in Vegas doing all the shows, our director made sure that the show was not on in Las Vegas. He didn't want us watching, which I think we really should have watched ourselves. That way we could critique ourselves better.
Yeah, it'll help you
I think
learn.
I think it's helpful. Yeah.
Definitely seemed like there was a lot of camaraderie with that group, with that cast.
Absolutely. Back then there was, after when girls get older, some stay friends, everybody moves a different way or has a
That
different
happens.
opinion. I think when people get older, they have more opinions. You can hide behind these little screens here without anybody attacking you. But yeah, as a whole, I would say everybody did a phenomenal job. No complaints at all. I mean, we had, our heels against the baby faces. and I was a heel, and the heels back then didn't get to win as much. So that was difficult. But again, if you're in any sport, if you're an actor on TV, it's fun to play the bad guy, and I think it's better to play the bad guy than the good guy because you get away with so much.
Yeah.
However, sometimes you don't win, and that's okay. But I always stayed positive with that. I never went, oh, I'm losing again. You know, Really, there was nothing to complain about. I did a ton of we did comedy shows like Married with Children, We've Got It Made. We did several talk shows, um, and myself and the farmer's daughter did a lot of them. And boy, they paired us together all the time. We went to the same high school. We really didn't care for each other because we knew the same people. So we both had this little animosity against each other because she wanted to win and I wanted to win. So those were great matches. They were great matches. Super exciting. They
Who
hurt.
who came up with the character of Hollywood?
So all the characters were already I want to say predetermined, but they already had a storyboard of costumes. They had those 12 characters, myself, Vine, um, Tammy Jones, Matilda the Hun, Spanish Red. I mean, they had everybody. And so I hope they pair my personality with Hollywood or Vine or Tina or Ashley. I'm thinking those are the type of people I could like get into their characters. And so yeah, the director and the promoter or producer David McLean came up with all those characters, and then they just kept coming up with more and more. And Stephen Blance was our writer, our head writer, and Steve came up with a lot of material, the rap songs, the names. He helped a lot of girls with their rap songs. I still have, after all these years, and I'll put it in the book, I have my notebook from back then, and I have all the matches that I did and who was in them and what we did and who was going over and who wasn't. I have itinerary on tour. It's pretty cool.
Oh, it's nice to have a little memento of
Oh
the
yeah.
experiences that you had and the times that you remember from back then. So that's pretty fascinating.
Yes, it
Hey,
is.
now, speaking of Vine, you had just mentioned her earlier. You were tag partners together, right?
Absolutely. For season 1 and 2. And then she started in season 3, but she left in season 3, and I don't know where she went. She just one day she was gone. No goodbye. And I never saw her after that ever again. It's kind of hard to when you put two people together all the seasons and you put them in the same room and you have them doing the same comedy sketches together. After a while, it's like a brother and sister. You're fighting, you're arguing. Oh, your hair's in my way. Well, your hair's in my way. Oh, stupid stuff. I remember Vine, and she was so sweet, beautiful, beautiful girl, and very sweet. One time she said to me, Hollywood, she's Canadian, okay? She said, Hollywood, she goes, why is it you get to come out in the ring first all the time? And I looked at her as a 21-year-old and I'm like, because of it's Hollywood and Vine, and it's the street Hollywood and Vine. And I looked at her and I go, well, come out first. But since they said not, if they would have said Vine and Hollywood, they should have mixed it up. That way she could come out. But it's just those little tiny things that, young girls will argue about.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, she was a huge asset to our show. She was a really good actor
Ah, it's very
and a good
sweet.
wrestler.
Yeah.
She was sweet. And we worked so well together. We really did. I would go and find us outfits too. Like I'd go back to Hollywood and I'd go to these stripper stores or these sexy type of stores on Hollywood Boulevard. I think we would go to Playmates, and I'd bring back all kinds of costumes. I'm like, look, I have a silver one and you have the blue one, or I have the animal print zebra and I bought you back the leopard, And so we didn't even ask if we could wear them. We had a wardrobe department and a lady that made the wardrobe for everybody. But you know what? I did not show them. I just showed up. We just showed up in our outfits because I was afraid. Oh, I just bought this. Can I wear this? I wasn't about to say that because I'm thinking they might go, no, I didn't want anyone to say no. I'm figuring let's just put them on and get out in the ring. And that's why you will see me in so many costumes. Like all the other girls, you'll see them in the same blue outfit, in the same green outfit, in the same yellow outfit. I couldn't do that. I had to mix it up because that's what Hollywood does.
Yeah, I mean, change things up. It's good to get some fresh material every now and then, kind of makes things interesting.
It does. And again, that's what makes, to me, a better entertainer, is mixing it up and having things that someone's not expecting of you. If I was ever a judge for any of the shows, I would know immediately who's pulling my chain and who's not, or which ones are giving me 110 because I did it. I know that world pretty well, to keep, continuing in it as of today, and there's some great characters, don't get me wrong, there's tons, but there are some that like to just, you don't get anywhere unless you put in the work, and you have to put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
And overtime.
Yeah, you gotta commit to it.
Absolutely.
It's all about commitment. Do you keep up with the women's scene today at all?
A little bit here and there. I mean, I did it for so long that I have so much going on in my life now. Just to sit down and watch wrestling, I don't as much, but I've seen the Becky Lynches. I've done a little wrestling actually and kept up with NWA. That's Billy Corgan's company. So here and there, I have to know what's going on. And of course, when I'm at the conventions, here's all these young stars. There's Holly Hood, and she's over at the Ohio Wrestling, or it's new. I'm trying to think what that new. I'm trying to think. It's in Kentucky.
OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling. Yes,
that's it. And I met her and her mom when I was in Chattanooga a couple of months ago. Took some photos with them, but you know what? I'm psyched for them. I see them in the ring, and I'm just like, oh. It makes you want to get back in the ring again in front of a live audience and do it.
It's exciting to see these women become role models for kids and for adults alike, and it really just makes you feel good to see the evolution of women's wrestling.
Correct. Oh, I agree. Absolutely.
Who have been some of your favorite opponents that you've been in the ring with?
Well, I would say Sally, the farmer's daughter. She wasn't my favorite back then, but when I think about it now, they were great matches. I mean, they were unbelievable because anything went. Mountain Fiji, anything with Matilda the Hun, because Vine and I were her seconds, and then wrestling against Tina and Ashley. I loved wrestling against them. Very seasoned entertainers for sure. They were cheerleaders first, so I learned a lot from those two. So yeah, those were pretty much my favorites, and it's different for me too, because I did all the seasons. And when I came back to season 3, there was all new girls. So everybody that I did the pilot with or came in season 2 were gone, except for Nanuchka and Mountain Fiji and me. So, I liked the superheroes, Lightning and Thunderbolt. They were great. They were jumping up all over the place. They were fun to wrestle. The cheerleaders were great to wrestle. Yeah. To name a few.
It's hard when when a lot of your friends are gone and you have to make new ones, and you got a whole new cast of characters. So you were definitely able to teach the new ones what you were taught.
A few tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a few tricks and then some.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then some.
All right. Well, let's kind of switch gears now. Actually, first, let's talk about your television and stunt work that you've done outside of wrestling. Tell me about your acting experiences, other than Glow, in addition to Glow.
I did a lot of them, a lot of the stunt work. Cheryl Russo was getting into it big time after Glow, and she's like, "You need to do this." I was kind of like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." Well, I should have listened to her a little more because that's a hard scene because it's very uh it's very family kind of oriented,
Hmm.
once you're in, you're in. So I did it here and there, but I was specific because I don't have a lot of muscle. I'm thinner, I'm smaller here, bigger here. So I was kind of specialty for certain actresses, which was cool. They don't give you anything that you can't do. So if you don't specialize at a certain skill, they're not going to throw you in the water and say, put a tank on and, unless you're certified. So I could fall hard. I could do stair falls. I could, all of that worked for me. My, the one that just my most current actually, um, stunt job was here this year. I think it was April or May, and it was here in Nashville, and it was Nicole Kidman's movie called Holland, Michigan. And I
Hmm.
haven't seen that out, but I was a stunt driver on that show. So when I say stunt driver, again, their specialties. We're not talking about, oh my God, I'm going down the road at 85 miles an hour
Yeah,
and we're going to hop over this thing. So no, I was a utility stunt driver. Basically, the scene is Nicole Kidman is dropping off her kid at school, and I'm one of the moms that is in the car behind her dropping off my kid, or my actor child. And so that was the stunts, and sometimes we had to take the car back and forth while she was doing dialogue with her son. So I was a stunt utility car driver in that, so it was really cool.
exciting. What was it like to work with Nicole Kidman?
Well, you know what? She was in front of me doing lines, and man, they had her. I mean, as soon as she was done, she had somebody next to her bringing her back in to stay warm. So didn't meet her. She looked sweet, nice, tall, very thin. I thought I was thin. I'm like, oh, she's really thin.
Yeah, it's very exciting though that you get to be a
Oh,
part of that
totally.
production.
Oh my God. Especially here,
Yeah,
usually they're calling people from, they don't. Here's the thing, you got to stay on budget too. So you have your stunt coordinator looking for people in the area, which is great. And so like I say, I can do Los Angeles or Nashville, even Atlanta. I think they give us like a 500-mile radius.
radius. Hmm.
So that, yeah, so that I could go to North Carolina. I'm union as well. So you have, now that the union is done, the strike, thank goodness,
Hmm. Strike is
there's going to be, yeah, it was a long time. That will open up the doors for more work.
That's exciting though. I'm really happy to hear that everything's kind of resumed. Uh,
Me
but
too.
but the film industry in Nashville's definitely picked up over the last several years. Very, very interesting to hear and read about the different productions that go on.
Right. You know what? It will open up more if they do that film incentive. You know how they do, like Louisiana has one, Atlanta has one, I think New Mexico, Arizona.
Hmm.
When you have those incentives for the city, that's when they start doing that. And so far, Nashville hasn't done that yet. And I wish that they would do it. If they did that, it would be so cool. But then it would really be a little Hollywood over here.
I think in the next 10 years or so, you'll see a change. At
Yeah, I
least,
think so. I think you're right.
yeah.
By
Well,
then,
let's.
I'll probably be too old to do it. They're like, I mean, seriously, stunt work is not for old. You know what I mean? And certain things I can do, but you know what? They don't want somebody breaking a hip. I'm serious. They
Really.
don't want to know that someone's 40 or 50 years old or 60 years old. They want the youngsters, a 20-year-old, a 20. I mean, I don't blame them. A 30-year-old,
Yeah.
someone that,
I
you
mean
know,
that's understandable. But if I don't know if somebody's done it for a long time and they're really good at their job,
then they will. That's what I'm talking about. That's that family thing.
yeah,
If you're what's a grandfathered in like that, you're in.
yeah, just just keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully
Right.
things will open up. Doors will open up.
Yeah. Agreed.
So let's
Agreed.
so let's switch gears. We'll talk about your you've done a lot of charity work over the years. Tell me about some of the
Yes.
organizations you've worked with.
I think the very first one that I did myself was probably Children of the Night and ALS. Remember when everybody was doing the ALS
Mm-hmm.
challenge?
Yeah, Ice
That was
Bucket
probably the
Challenge.
very, yeah, yes, we all did it.
Mm-hmm.
I did it. So that was the first one. Now, if we go back just a little bit more, Glow, when we did Family Feud, we did tons of charities. So when we played for charities against WCW, and I did 15 shows, which meant 15 different charities. So we picked different charities to win money for. So that's where that started. Then we'll fast forward to now. My soap that I make. So I make homemade handcrafted soap, kind of like these. I'm going to show you. I have a
Yes.
company. What I do sometimes, if there's a charity that I want to uh, help, what I will do is I will give either a percentage or the whole 100% to that charity. And I'll say, we're going to run it for this month. So I think the first ones were the breast cancer, because my mother is a breast cancer survivor. So I did, Gilda has a club here called Gilda's Club. It's
Mm-hmm.
Middle Tennessee. That was the first one I did here, and we sold soap, and I had the color, everything that I got, I gave them a portion. Then there was another one called Hair to Stay, for another breast cancer um, one. And then I did, let's see, what else will we do? We did so many, every time we had a crisis like the Ukraine UNICEF. So I
Mm-hmm.
made the soap kind of blue, white, blue, and yellow. And that was last year. And I think that was like almost a year ago already, for at least over a year, isn't it? I'm trying to think now. Uh, the most recent one was the Maui Humane Society. Oh my gosh, my heart goes out to animals, that just, that are lost or need survival or need to be supported. I sent, what did we do? I think I did Barbie soap for all of that, and I gave them the whole 100%. And then, of course, I'll go on to social media. Thank goodness for social media. It helps so much. I'll go onto my website, which is NashvilleBotanica.com. I have an Etsy site, my Facebook page, my X account, and my Instagram. And I can promote all of this. And I just thank everybody so much, because it's so great to have everybody go, you know what, I'm going to give. And then there'll be people who, will buy soap or not even, and just give $100 or more. It's really nice for people to do it. So when I feel a certain way about a certain charity, did I say Hurricane Andrew? That was another one. And there
No,
was
you didn't.
and there was,
Oh yeah.
yeah, Hurricane Andrew was one. There was another hurricane in the Houston area, and I gave to, I think, a humane society there as well. And then there was the LGBTQ community, the Ruth Ellis Center. I sold soap and sent money there. So I'm all about helping. It's a good thing. It makes you feel good. And you know what? If people want to do it, they do. And if they don't, they don't. But, and here we are with another crisis, which is happening in our world. And I just haven't got to that point yet, because it's such a terrible thing going on. You know, I'm thinking about that one right now, is how to give. You know, I saw a bunch of little babies a couple of nights ago on the news. I'm like, oh, they're pulling the incubators. Oh my God, how are they going to survive? It breaks your heart.
It's just devastating when you watch stuff like that,
Yeah,
because
it's hard to watch too.
these are little kids being taken away from their parents,
I know.
and you're seeing the parents just
Or
upset,
they don't have parents
or
anymore.
they don't have them. Exactly, they're being
It,
taken away, and
it's sickening.
it's
Yeah,
horrible. It is
yeah,
horrible to watch all
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. It's hard to watch.
For
It really
you,
is.
yeah, for you, giving back, what is it about giving back that gives you joy, and why do you feel passionate about helping out in your community?
I think it was just the way I was brought up and raised in my family. It's just, you know, I could be the baddie. You know what I'm saying? I could be the bad guy, but that's who wants to be a bad guy? It's about being kind. At the end of the day, seriously, it makes me feel good about me. You know, I don't care what anybody says. That they could say, "Oh, Hollywood's this or Hollywood's that," but you know what? I think the best thing is always to kill people with kindness, regardless if you. It's so easy to smile. It's so much easier to smile, and be kind to people. It just leaves me with a warm feeling.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I travel a lot, Stanley. I travel, and there are times when I'm on a plane and I think, wow, we're in all this turbulence right now, and I'm thinking, you get scared, you start thinking, is this going to go down? Blah blah blah. And I think about it, I'm like, you know what? I've done a lot. I've done a lot in this lifetime, more than some people have ever done, and so I think if I went, it would be all good. I have no regrets, not at all. And if I could help somebody or make somebody smile or pay for someone's groceries, I don't know if anyone's ever done that. Just one day, I was in California, I was at the store, and it just hit me. And I'm not saying I'm great or anything like that, but all of a sudden I looked at this person next to me. And so as our groceries went by, I said, "These are mine." I go, "Could you ring these up?" And the person looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, "You don't owe me anything." And I just walked. I just, I, I can't tell you sometimes why you do it. You just do what you do.
Yeah, you just got to follow what your gut tells you
You
sometimes.
do exactly, and what your heart says.
Exactly.
Wrestling with heart.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. Well, Hollywood, this has been an absolute pleasure to talk with you, get to speak with you. Before we go, you've got a book coming out. You had mentioned it throughout the podcast. Tell me a little bit about that.
I'm super excited because I started writing this stuff a long, 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 long time ago, and thank goodness I did. I wanted to write a book about my experiences in Glow. I have it. It's done basically at the moment. Everything's written, but you know what? There are days that I keep wanting to add more because I'll be somewhere and go, "Oh my God, did we talk about that? Oh, that has to be in there." It's just it's my how I was brought up, the sports that I played, my mom and dad, church, being a rebel, a bad person sometimes, speeding, getting pulled over by cops, or running away from cops. I have a whole story there, but I wanted to tell it. The book is called Inside Glow: A True Hollywood Story. There's a lot of testimonials from the girls in the book, from fans in the book. Um, I have Billy Corrigan writing a blurb, some people from ECW, XM Radio, different people. So when it comes out, I'm going to come back on the show again, and
Yes.
we'll talk about it. But I'll have photos in it that I try not to post photos because I have tons like that people have not seen, because I want the book to be special. I want you to see, the housewives, Chainsaw and Spike, when they're doing laundry. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
like
you
I want
gotta
you to stuff
gotta
you've
save
never
the
seen before.
gotta save the
Yeah.
good stuff for the bio. Gotta save
Yep.
the good stuff for the book.
Absolutely. And what I'm putting in there is little Easter eggs throughout the whole book.
Ooh.
That way, when I, do my promos and advertising, I could say blah 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 blah, and then I'll know who's read the book or not. It'll be
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure looking forward to it.
Thank you.
But
Me too.
I just want to say again, thank you for coming on the show. And yes, you're more than welcome to come back on. It means a lot to me and my listeners. We can't wait to have you back on again.
Thank you so much.
And
Stanley, you're awesome.
thank you. Where can people find you on social media?
On social media, X, Twitter, the now X, Glow Hollywood, Instagram, official Glow Hollywood. If you're interested in any of the soap on Instagram, it's Nashville Botanica. By the way, these soap, you can find them at the Nashville International Airport.
Ooh.
Yes. So there's a store called Nashville Jam Session. Say that 3 times fast. Anyway, my soap are there, which is great. So if you're coming into Nashville and you can't get over to the website, which is hollywoodbotanica.com, or my Etsy site. You can get them at the Nashville International Airport. And what else do I have? I have a Facebook. There you have it.
There you go. Thank you again so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All
Thanks for
right.
having me.
You're welcome. Take care.
You too.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.